Hey there guys, TheIncoherentGamer here, and welcome to Europa Universalis 4, where I'll be just playing a game here. I've gotten just a little bit of problems with my computer and been busy most of the time, so I haven't been able to play too much of Beyond Good and Evil. I just got in my thing for Super Mario Sunshine, so that should be starting up soon again, but once again, time is more of a problem. And Europa Universalis 4 is a game where I can just pick up and do stuff and get it done quick and easily. It's not that much of a time consumer in my life, so I'm going to play this for the next couple of weeks and actually probably have a decent uploading time hopefully with it. Anyways, Europa Universalis 4 is a game in the style of Civilization 5. It's a grand strategy game where, unlike Civilization 5, which is the closest thing I can probably say about it, it's much more historical, and its goal is not an end game goal. There is no end game in this. There is no I've taken over the world militarily. There is no I am just the most scientific country in this world and they all bow down to my genius kind of thing. Your goals are much more simpler. It could be Moscow over here, just making Russia. It is your goal throughout this game just to make Russia. By then, that's take over most of this area around here and then be able to have enough money, enough points, enough stability, whatever it costs to make Russia, but in the end you make Russia. It could be Hungary here just to make the Holy Roman Empire. It could be just a freaking Irish country right here. Just become Irish. That could be your goal. It's kind of difficult because of England over here and stupid Scotland here, or you could just try to take over this Great Britain area and become the powerhouse of Great Britain. Or you could be a Castile to make Spain, or a Portugal that's take over this land over here, take over this area. You could be a native of America, and just stem the tide against the Western colonies when they eventually reach here. You could be Aztecs, you could be freaking the Mongols and the Attilas. I forget actually what their names are, but Mongols, and just take over the world. You can take over the world if you want. It's particularly tough, but you can do it. Or you could be what I'm planning to be in this one. Morocco, trying to take over Spain. That is what's going to be of this playthrough. It's just my goal to take over Spain. Usually it's the other way around. Usually Spain takes over this African countries here. But it's my goal to take over them. And I chose Morocco just because I have been Castile, I have Portugal, and I have fought them. So I understand them a bit better than Algiers, the Tusuni, and Tusuna, however you pronounce their name, and the Tripoli and the Mali over here. So I have a little experience just mostly going against them. So I think I can understand what it'll take to go against them. Go against Castile as them. So, looking here at Morocco, there's a couple of things here. You're a Muslim, which means any technology you do costs a bit more. We'll get into that a bit later. And the great thing about them is they are Sunni religion, which is really hard to get rid of. But let's go in here and we can explain it a bit more. So let's just get a quick look here. So, Sunni is really hard to get rid of. If you look at this Portuguese little country they have here off of me, they get revolt risk for having problems here, and they get no taxes because they have, it's not the right culture and it's not right religion. Culture generally is pretty easy actually to get rid of. Religion for the Sunni is really hard to get rid of for a mercenary, or not a mercenary, a missionary. So that means they are not probably going to get any money off of this, and it's going to be really hard to defend later on, and they'll have peasant revolts every once in a while, which is a good thing for us because one of my first goals is to take over this land, because if I ever go against these guys, if they have this land, this means they have a good spot to land and have the ability to take me over. So to take over Castile, problem is Castile is going to be basically Spain. And what they have is great allies. Wow, that is a lot of angry people at me, but I have friends, hopefully. Yeah, I got some friends. Castile usually has a powerhouse in 3 ways. They have a military powerhouse if they're planning to create Spain right away. If the AI is going for Spain right away, they have a naval powerhouse if they are much more of a defensive kind of colonizing Castile in this game. Or finally, they are a ally powerhouse where they just have good allies for their time being. Let's take a quick look and see what their allies are. They actually have no ally right now, which is weird. Because usually they start off as Portugal being an ally and Aragon being an enemy. So they actually don't have Portugal as an ally, which is really good for us, actually. If they don't get that, we can actually take over Portugal quite easy, which is nice. We can definitely get back this land right away. If they stay non-allies with each other, which is a good start for me. I actually forgot to do one thing on this entire thing, and that was take off Lucky Nations. Lucky Nations is a historical event, which means England, France, Steel, and Hungary, and a couple other guys just get a better start. They are historically better. They have won basically in our world to this date. So they get a little boost to make it more historically accurate. I hate Lucky Nations because it just makes them way too hard sometimes. Let's see what we got for missions. Our currency in this game is basically our ducats, our gold, and these little power points here. Military, diplomatic, and military, they are what we use to spend on things, and there are ways to get it. The best way usually to get things is missions. We can form an alliance with Algiers, which is probably our best one right here. We can protect these guys. We're not going to be able to take Portugal on right away here, so our ability to fight them is probably not going to happen here. And improve our prestige. This is actually a terrible mission, usually in my opinion. It's generally really early on hard to get prestige, and later on it's not really worth the stability mission when there's something better. But what we're actually going to take here is a alliance with Algiers. It'll get us 10 prestige and diplomatic power, which is really good early on if we get that early. So all we have to do is just take the mission, and then since they're friendly to us, it'll actually be really easy to get alliance. Bam. We don't even have to do anything. Perfect. And we got that mission already done. And we got alliance offer from the Tusuni, which is also really good. We're going to want to have basically most of Africa against Castile for us to actually take them over. What we're also going to do later on is maybe fight Algiers and the Tusuni later on. Backstab them later on when we have a bit more power than them, because right now they're a bit more powerful. So what we're going to do is get some ducats. This is trade notes. This is the best way of getting money in this game. So, and what you want is these light chips here. Those are what we use for trade. Okay, we got trade power in here. More trade power, basically the more money or the more you can do in that trade. So usually if you're collecting from an area, you'll want to send your ships to the actual area that you have the most trade power in, which happens to be over here. We have an heir. It's important to have an heir. It's something you can't really work towards against except for royal marriages. Where is, there we go. We have to wait just a bit longer before we can send a royal marriage over to the Algiers. But it's our new thing, improve our relation. Cheers! We gain 3 prestige, not really worth it. Once again, we're not going to be able to fight Portugal right away, and improved prestige is kind of useless right now. In the game, you can always have a military leader for free. You'll have the main cost of whatever it is to hire them, but after that, it doesn't cost any regenerative power on, or regenerative points. Like right now, I get 3 in diplomacy, mid points. I get 5 diplomatic points, and I get 3 military. If you hire over your limit there, leaders, you can see there at the very bottom of that, you'll start minusing how much you get monthly. So it's really important early on not to really go over your limit. Our ideas are just our own little bonuses. Most of ours are towards Navy-ish kind of stuff, so I'll probably have to take over Castile in that area by Navy. Or at least have a good way of protecting my borders by Navy and have a strong military that's able to go over there. Okay, so hopefully I don't have to explain anymore. We are actually going to lower our army maintenance because, my god, it's a lot of money and I'd rather have this money right now than a strong army. I'm not going to be fighting anyone recently. We're going to send these guys up here. Because the moment I'm able to, I'm going to fight the Portugal. Did they get Castile yet? They're allied with Aragon. Wow, this is a strange Spain. Usually, it's Castile and Portugal against Aragon, not Aragon and Portugal against Castile. This actually will make it way better for us. Oh. Oh, this is actually bad for me. So when you call in people for wars, usually it's defensive will generally always get you that ally. Unless some bad stuff has been happening between allies. So what will happen is if I fight freaking Portugal here, they'll call Aragon. And then Aragon will call in Castile. As all these guys are allied through each other just through Aragon. So they are definitely going forward trying to get Spain. Castile is trying for I'll get Spain idea. That, unless we start seeing some large amount of ships built by them. This is what they usually start with, so it's not actually a large amount of ships yet. Other than that, that's the only other way is they're going colonizing the South American, North American area. Royal marriage, thank you. Royal marriage just allows us more legitimacy, which means we're less likely to have revolts. And less likely to have bad stuff based on heir and king wise. I have a terrible king. Damn it. I was really at least hoping for more administrative since we have to spend more money on military. Oh, Muslims, why? That actually hurts, because one of the best things to do is get really early technology grab. Okay. What I'm going to do right now is build more army. I have an army force limit of 13. I'm at least going to get that up to 10. Know what? I have enough money, I can get that up to 11. And not worry about it. We are going to see what our general is going to be. Ooh, it's actually a really good general. We got a siege general, a fire general, and a shock general of 2. Early on, the most important one is shock. Siege is actually pretty nice to have right off the bat here, because that means we can take this land pretty easily away from Portugal if we do a quick hit and run tactics. So if we get up to 13, and if... Wow, we start with heavy ships? Yeah, we're definitely a naval powerhouse in this game. You know what? I'm actually going to get another early heavy ship. Heavy ships are by far one of the strongest ships. I think we have an inland thing here, so I'm definitely going to need to get more light ships later on, but some early heavy ships would be really nice. Let's see if there's any buildings I can build yet. No, that's later. That's the next technology group where I can start building things. So, if I started a war right now, I would definitely get... Because I'm pretty sure I have a reason to have a war on there. Yeah, In this game, you need a reason to war. You need a Casus Belli, where it means there is a reason where I am fighting you. You can have a no Casus Belli war, but it's a lot of minuses that you do not want. So very often you don't want to declare a war through something. In this game, instead of its brother game, Crusader Kings 3. Wait, 3? 2. 3? 2? 2. Crusader Kings 2. It's really easy to generally get a Casus Belli against someone. So usually you don't have to worry about it. This land used to be ours. We probably lost it in a war recently just before the game started against Portugal. So we have it as a core. We can take it pretty easily. And depending on the Casus Belli, it's whatever minuses you get or how much things cost to actually take in the war. Because in wars, to finish off a war and be able to take your war goals, it costs war score, just how well you're at beating them, blockading them, owning their land, taking over their land, and it'll cost them diplomatic points to finally take over. We can have both Algiers and the Tusuni in this alliance come right to our aid. They will probably have Castile and Aragon come right to their aid. But the good thing here is, what's our allies' ships like? Light, mostly light. They got a couple lights. I really like to see Castile before I call this. So what we can do is just block off this little strait here. That means they can't really get over to this land to defend it. And with our siege general here, we can probably take it over quick and just sit on it and just protect our land after that from it, from anybody coming over, because we'll get ticking war score. War score will increase over time, just as we. You know what? I'm actually going to probably declare this war. Allied with England. England's busy with France, so they are really less likely to be able to come to help. So our only worry is going to be Aragon and Castile. Do they have any... No, they don't really have any truce that would help us, so... Because all I need to do is take this war goal, and I'm pretty sure I'll be well enough to be able to defend my borders and the war goal from them, that I could just sit on it and just wait for the time to finish before they can get to me. The only problem would be AI losing some battles. I really don't want to do this early aggression, but I'm going to fall behind them because I'm Muslim in technology, so if I don't attack them soon, I'm going to lose this land, or any advantage I'll have over this land. What I could do, actually, also is support these rebels, which will make it more likely for peasants to revolt, but... It'll cost me 1 gold, it'll increase their thing by another point, which is a lot, actually, in early on. So... How much money am I making right now? I can probably support these guys right now, fine, and just hope they are able to really hurt Portugal. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop the first episode here. I'm sorry for much of the explanation, but after this, more action will happen. I'll probably wait for an actual revolt, them to stop the revolt, leave, then I'll attack, because then they'll be weak. But for the time being, this has been European Alice 4, this has been Incoherent Gamer, and I'll see you next time.